All right, what shall we do? Shall I finish these out by just simple bifacing and then thinning? Or shall we make points? I don't know. I should probably just make them as smooth as possible. Take out some of these little cosmetic defects and maybe thin it down some on this one, and then maybe make something out of this. That's a point style. I don't know. Let's see. Haven't decided yet. I did some knapping earlier. Off camera. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up tonight by working on these two. Get some closure on this particular challenge. Yeah, closure. You want to look in the book first to see what we can make from those? What styles were made from rainy buttes? What arrowhead styles in the archaeological record were made from rainy buttes? That's a good question, right? Yes? No? Don't matter? I can make whatever I want? Yeah, I like the way you think. If you said that. Let's see. Do we have the proper lighting? We have the technology. Are we using it? I don't have the fan running for once. It's cool in the shop. Yeah, amazing. All right, so I am going to pick at it some more. Now, rainy buttes is not the best for damage control, so just fair warning. If you are squeamish, you might not want to tune in or, get ready. Get ready for maybe some issues. I will try to spare you the torture of watching it snap in half and that sort of thing. Okay? All right. I will try. Are you ready? Okay. Well, I can't get it from that side. Let's see if I can pick it out. Yeah, I tried the direct attack first. I'm not sure if that's my default or not. Yeah, this is another area. Yes, I know. Hold on. I get distracted. Yeah. I don't always stay focused. All right, now we can focus on what we just did. We just took a flake trying to get rid of the lump, but it didn't work. But it set us up for maybe catching the front of that step fracture and popping a flake off. Like that. To make it smoother. So it'll be easier to shoot a flake from this other side. Yeah, that's what I'm building up to. You didn't know? I'm 2 steps ahead of the rock and 3 steps ahead of you. Yeah. Do I make fun of my viewers? Oh, yes, I do. Am I ashamed? No. I have no shame. No. No shame and no filter. They go together like peanut butter and chocolate. No filter and no shame. You didn't know? No, you already knew that one. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting closer. Am I getting closer to conquering that spot? Maybe. I'm getting a little bit too confident, though. Let's see what I can do with the pick. The spatula tool. Can you see? Is it going to be one of those days where it gets blurry every time I try to show you something important? It might be. It might be one of those days. What's going on with that? I'm going to see if I can remove that first. Remember, all this fussy napping is not necessary for a functional point. Yeah, this is just for the spectators, of which there are many. Yeah. So I took a flake right there, and I reduced that down to a minimum. Still not perfect, but it's good. It's good. It's close. It's close enough. So I'm going to try to make this whole tip nice and smooth on both sides. I call this the tip because it's the more narrow portion, but it could be either way. I could make the hafting area more narrow. Or I could designate the more narrow spot to be the hafting area. Yeah, maybe that's a better way to put it. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Slowly pick. Nah, that's not gonna work when it's dull. Does it look dull? It looks, yeah, if I focus, it looks sharp, but I guess it isn't. I gotta get in there and try to pop that out. Can you see? Or does it get blurry every time I try to show you? Yeah, it gets blurry every time I try to show you. Did it work? Kinda, sort of. I'm going to go a little bit slower than normal, which drives me up the wall, but it gives me some time to think things over. What I'm going to do next. Yeah, I don't know. I need to be careful, but I cannot overthink it. That's not gonna work. Yeah, when you take off flakes and just crunch or remove a flake way too soon, it's not good. So I'm going to move on. I'll get back to that a little bit later. I was going to try to clean up this tip a little bit, but I'll wait. Yeah, rainy buttes. It's it spoils you sometimes But I got to remember that not every spot on here is consistent, so I can't depend on long flakes. I got to choose my flakes wisely. I hate that when I have to choose my flakes wisely. Yeah, it makes me feel like I'm overthinking it. Well, that's good. At least we know that that was an incomplete flake. Do we have another incomplete flake? Yes. Where else is there an incomplete? Well, no, that's that one. All right, so I'm going to take a flake down into this way. Yeah, right here. If that one doesn't work, I got another one that's not so good, but I think this flake here will do it. But like I said, if I overthink it, it doesn't work. Because I don't allow my subconscious and my muscle memory to take over. Yeah, when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's best to let your subconscious take over because it's done it. I've done it thousands of times. Whereas if I do just by memory, my conscious memory, I only remember the last few times I did it. All right. Let's see. Yes. Do we say it? Voila. We do say it. All right, so what's next? Yeah, that's always the way. Just when you think you've got it, there's something else to do. Can't sit down and rest. Well, you can, but you lose your groove that way. Yeah, you got to keep your foot on the pedal or you lose speed. Yeah. You don't take your foot off the gas. In Flintknapping, if you take your foot off the gas, the whole mindset starts to change. Yeah. Sometimes you do need to pause. But I recommend keeping your foot on the gas. Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going just a little bit. You don't have to put the pedal to the metal. Just keep your foot on the gas. Am I reminding myself? Well, kind of, sort of. Did it do it? Oh, yeah, it did. I was afraid I was going to create a step vector too soon when I saw that. Yeah, if it had stopped before there, it wouldn't have been so good. But now I can live with that, even though it's still kind of crunchy. I might be able to fix it. But like I said, it's not necessary for a functioning point to be perfect. It's only necessary if you're trying to do a cosmetic repair. Yes? Is it a sequential pass? Nope, it's random, but it looks sequential, doesn't it? Yeah. So just because it looks sequential doesn't mean it was. Right or no? Maybe it was. and I'm just pretending that it wasn't. But to me, I think it was random. But who knows? I might have remembered it, wrongly, and by coincidence, it was in sequence. But I don't think it was. Anyway, let's move on. Let's not discuss every little play-by-play, because that's not my way. Actually, I think we got all the thick spots out, except maybe a couple, and I need to get rid of that. That's not very nice looking. No. Let's do that one. And then we can do the pressure flaking to finish it up. Because I think this is just going to be a blade. Yeah. I don't want to look in the book for a point. A point style, that would mean that I have to probably remove some portion of it that I don't want to remove, because I work so hard to get all of it cleaned up. Clean it up just to remove it? No, that'd be terrible. Yikes, I don't like it. I don't like my chances here to clean that up. How smart is it to do that? It's not that smart, but if you're just going for looks, that's not too smart of a way to do it. But it's a video. Yeah, napping just for looks. It's not that smart. A lot of times you end up with something way smaller than you had planned, because you're trying to fix everything. And sometimes it gets too thin. Some people are going, yeah, just do it. Just do it. Shut up. Hey? It's the reveal. Oh, I think I got enough of it. It did fan out in the proper way. Yes, and I did catch the edge of it. So I'm happy. Yeah, and it didn't ruin it. That's always a plus. How would it ruin it? By creating a step fracture where it shouldn't be steppy. Like if I had created a scoop out or a step fracture right there, it would have been ruined. Yep. Dang. Okay. Where did I say dang? Oh, dang. And okay. Because I didn't thin the ends down yet. I mean, I didn't thin this end down yet. Now it's riskier because this is thin in the middle. Like, I just thinned it a lot there. I could snap right across there by hitting down here. I was saying, oh man, I didn't thin it down enough down here. Now I gotta do it while it's weak. Yeah, and I didn't hit correctly. I crunched it. Sometimes when I crunch it, I've got to hit it harder the next time, and that leads to trouble. So I got to go back and uncrunchify that. Yeah, so I can thin it. See, it's fatter on this side. case you're wondering what I'm doing. And no, this is not chocolate. This is not hard frozen chocolate or whatever. Although that's what it looks like. And it does feel like frozen chocolate, yes. It grinds down like frozen chocolate too. How do I know? I got kids, I know what frozen chocolate feels like. Yeah, because we used to stick everything in the freezer. When you're a kid, everything goes in the freezer to see how it tastes after it's frozen. Yeah, you didn't know? Of course you knew. Yeah, you stick everything in the freezer to see how it tastes. Some is good, some is not good. It's mostly good though. Amazingly. Dang. I say dang because it wants me to use a lot of power to remove these flakes. It crunched again, right in the same spot. It's a crunchy spot. That's what it is. And blame it on the stone. Right? It was the same spot? Yeah, it's the same spot. Yeah. Oh, well. Let's just pressure flake it, okay? I'm starting to wonder if I can do it with percussion. Why is it different? I don't know. They're just subtle differences in the way the flakes are removed. I can remove less and see what's going on better with pressure. It looks the same as percussion, and sometimes it produces the exact same flake as I could have with percussion, but at least I got in there and tested it out a little bit better, because percussion is more aggressive. It's harder to be persnickety with percussion. Yeah. It can produce the same flakes though, and the angles are pretty much the same. I say pretty much because I don't know exactly for sure. There's extremely subtle differences, but for the most part, if you're brand new and you're learning, just use the same angles for everything. Yeah. Yep. And use the same edges too. And if that doesn't work, just either grind it or trim it to be less ground down. You just got to experiment. Sometimes the rock is different, so you don't have to always grind it down a lot. You have to be adaptable. And you got to know when it's you or the rock that's messing up. Sometimes it's the rock. You just need to grind it more. It's an unusual spot. And it's the only spot on the whole edge that you need to grind more, for example. That could happen. Doesn't mean you need to grind more forever in all the Flintknapping. It's just that particular area on that particular stone needed to be ground down more. So that's what you do. And you go back to the default of not grinding down so much. Yeah. Just that particular spot. And after you get good at knapping, you can tell which spots need more grinding. Yeah. It's just because it's the variation in the stone itself. Okay, this one, I can't mess this up. One of the best ways to mess it up is to just go too fast. And when you go too fast, you sometimes you don't abrade enough. It still did it. Move down a little bit. Rainy Buttes is hard to sharpen. You can't be sitting there picking at it because it just gets it dull. Come on. It rounds it over or makes it dull if you keep picking at it. You got to pop out a flake and just leave it, which makes the edge a little more wonky, but you hate to do it, but it's the law of the West. Yeah, you hate to leave it all wonky, but with this type of stone, you pick at it too much and it dulls it. See, it crunched it right there and it's dull now. It requires a clean pop out and no crunchings. Come on. I abraded you so it wouldn't do that. It slipped and it crunched. You abrade it so you can get a good seat for that pop out, for that nice clean snap. Yeah, you abrade it so you can get that nice clean snap. Alrighty. I think it's time to sharpen this again. Or take off the little bits that is clogging up the tip. If the tip is clogged up, it doesn't flake as well. Come on. There we go. I gotta snap off all those dull areas. But not like that. It's too much. It doesn't know. The rock doesn't know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make it symmetrical. Yeah. Come on. Alrighty. Alrighty, Rainy Buttes. You are so delicate on the edge, and yet you don't want to flake. Does anybody else have difficulty sharpening Rainy Buttes? No? Then make a video and show us how to do it. You don't need to make a video because I'm the only one that has trouble sharpening this stuff. I'm the only one. Okay. All right, I can see where this is going. It's too slippery, and it's just not gonna. It's not going to cooperate at all. Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it wonky because I'm not gonna go back and trim that even with the rest of it. As I lose too much of the edge if I trim that. If I trim the rest of it even with that bite. That's what I meant to say. it's good enough. And I'm starting to regret turning the fan off because this is a bit of a sweat stage. Yeah. Because it's not cooperating. Yeah. Alrighty, I can see. I saw where this is going a while ago, but now it's starting to get me all sweaty. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, I'm just going to wind it down and not do too much sharpening. I've already sharpened up the tip pretty well. It's all wonky and stuff, but the edge is sharp. Yeah. Except for the spots that have bites sticking out. These little dips in there, they're not that sharp in there, but on the protruding parts, it is sharp. I just gotta make sure they're not too sticking out too much. Why? Because they break off. Those protrusions, believe it or not, they break off easy. And if you want to use it as a knife, you don't want serrations that are too long. Now, if it's just a one-shot deal projectile point, then you can put all kinds of serrations on it. Yeah. But if it's a knife, you don't want pieces to be breaking off. At least I don't. It won't make any sense. You know, unless you want pieces to break off from your knife. You want to be all dastardly about it, then yeah. Alright, here we go. I do need to thin it a little bit. Just because it looks a little bit fat here. I know I can thin it, and it has that little defect there. So I ground, a pretty good area just in case I miss. I got other options. There, I got it. I had to blow away a lot of the edge, but I got it. All right, beauty. Where am I going? See, I don't want to install a curve down here. Okay. So I'm going to take some off of this. No, not like that. There we go. Don't scare me like that. Yeah, sometimes when you hit and nothing happens, that means you just created some incipients. Yeah. Is that good enough? Be honest. Is it good enough? No. I know it's no because it's never good enough. There's always something else I could do. There's always something else that could be done. Always. That's just the way it is. And that's what gets you into trouble. You can always see an opportunity to do something else, but you should just leave it. Yep. I don't want to leave that though. I can take that out with pressure or percussion. Yeah. Yeah, it's still kind of there. Anyways, good enough. Now I could use the spatula tool to work the edge. I'm choosing to use the pointed tool because that's what I started with. What have I used on my other Rainy Buttes videos? The spatula tool? Because this is not easy. Now that I'm thinking about it, let's try that. Oh yeah, okay. That actually works. I got a lot of dull spots right here. And when you use a spatula tool, the advantage is it doesn't crunch. It just snaps off the flake. But they're just short flakes. They're little bitty flakes sometimes. So you're not really getting much of a bulb of pressure. So the edge is not quite as sharp as when you use a rounded tip tool, but it's very close. And yeah, it can make the same flakes. The spatula tool can make the same flakes as the rounded tool, and vice versa. There might be subtle differences. You might be able to tell. But in the actual making of the flakes, it's a little bit easier, I think, with the spatula tool. Yeah. And I can get in and push off against step fractures without having to switch tools. Yeah, that's a plus. Yeah, I can't get rid of that crunchiness. It's alright. It's 39 minutes. I'm only supposed to take 30 minutes because I got to do the other one. It's wonky, but oh well. Yeah, just push downward on the dull spots. I think I got them all, and that's good enough. All right, just the 2 points. It's a knife blade. You can use it either way. But it's not like a Arrowhead knife where it's beveled. It's bifacially sharpened. So there you go. There's that one. Let's put it where its buddies are not going to break it. Because some of these pieces and some of these tools are are in a bad spot. Bad for me, but good for the rock because it doesn't want to be an arrowhead. Yeah. All right, so what do we do with the keel cook? Same thing. I was thinking about what's long and narrow and made of keel cook. People have been suggesting all kinds of stuff for the other keel cook biface. Yeah, Snyder's always comes up. I don't like making Snyders. I have to admit. Why? Because they're supposed to be really, really pretty. They're very cosmetical. Yeah, that's a Flintknapping term. Cosmetical. It's supposed to be nice and pretty. Which means it usually ends up being way too small because you're trying to do damage control on every single strike on the Snyders. It's gotta be perfect because that's the way they made them. They were either ceremonial or there were some persnickety nappers. Or both. Both. Whenever you say both, it's always both. Yeah. Okay, did I grind it enough? Hopefully. What I hope is I've already got all the cracks out of it. That's what I'm really hoping. That there's no more cracks in the material. So I can just concentrate on thinning it. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, there it is. What is it? What is there? It's there where I expected it. Yeah. These flakes are going where I expect, which is good. It tells me that there's some consistency in the material. Yeah, I'm just worried that some spots on here are going to be all crackly, but so far so good. So far so good. Not too crackly. Yeah. Now I could be going play by play, going, that's where I expected, and that's not quite where I expected, and that was a little bit better than I thought. That was worse than I thought. That one didn't go anywhere. I thought it was going to go a long ways, or that went a long ways, and I didn't think it was going to go very far. I don't want to do that play by play, but just keep it in mind. That's what's going on. Yeah. It's not always what I expect, and sometimes it's better than what I expect. I'm not going to tell you, well, that edge looks pretty good right there. Looks good here, but not good here, but good here, and good there, not good there, here, good, you know, I'm not going to go and say what's good and what's not good on the edge. But just keep it in mind that there's spots where, yep, good, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope, no. All the way down, there's going to be yes and no, good spots and bad spots. But I'm only going to hit the good spots. But if there's no good spots, I might hit a bad spot. Yeah, because I don't want to reshape the edge. Take too long. Or it just seems lame to not take the risk. Just take it. Just do it. Just take the risk. My brain says, it's not that bad. It's only a short flake. So what if it's above center line? Or so what if it's got a little crack on it? Right where you're going to hit the platform or the striking area. It's got a little crack. Or there's a little step fracture, a little bit too close. Oh well. Oh well. I'll take the chance on some of these. And some of these, a flake path is not clear. Or you're flaking into a step fracture, dude. Oh well. Yeah. Or you know that flake's not going to travel that far. The brain's saying, you know it's not going to travel that far. What are you doing? I want to try it anyway. Yeah. Now, before I remember this stuff, when the flakes were coming off earlier, when I was bifacing it, that they were snapping in half when I took a big flake. That's what's going to happen here. If I hit it too hard, the whole thing will snap in half, the whole biface. So it doesn't like being shocked. I got to keep that in mind and keep the flakes a little bit short, so I'm not shocking the piece too much. So that means nibble at it little by little. Yeah. Once in a while I'll take a big risk. Like on here I need to take a risk. But before I hit really hard here, I need to make sure the ends are thin. See, that didn't work. See? That doesn't always work. Even though that spot was juicy. You see all that dust coming off of that? It's very dusty. Dusty rock. Now, was that an internal crack? Yeah. That's an internal crack right there. That's not good. Nope. Not good at all. Just put it in the auction as a broken biface. Yeah. One of those brokes or bifaces. Let someone else deal with it. Yeah. That'd be smart. I risk breaking it on video. Yeah. Some people have sensitive hearts, and they can't stand it when it breaks. They have nerves of glass instead of nerves of steel. Yeah. They got nerves of crumbly, snapping, halfish obsidian. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah. Some people don't like keel cooked because of that. Because it does the unpredictable crackly stuff. And you don't know where, I don't know where that's going. It could be diving right now. Yep, deep sea diving right there. We're about to find out. All right, I don't see a major diving problem. Yeah. I do see some cracklings in the material. That's going to be an issue unless I just leave it as a biface and not thin it. Oh, that did not go as far as I thought. This is getting crackly. Hold on. Yeah. Unreleased flake right there. As I was abrading it, I got that flake out. I was afraid that it was worse than it actually was. Okay. All right, I don't feel so bad now. But yeah, I can't be hitting this really, really hard. Yep. So I'm going to stop trying to do the long flakes across the face. Yeah. I might try just a couple of times with the with that turtleback. But for the most part, it's got to be short flakes. It's got to be. Yeah, nice tone, which is good. Still makes me nervous though. Okay. What am I saying? That the tone makes me nervous? No. There's a nice tone, but it still makes me nervous that it's in this condition with some internal defects, and the fact that the flakes beforehand had snapped in half a lot. Snap in half a lot. Snuffleupagus. Yeah. Snap in half a lot. Let's see. Yeah, I had to take that chance. But it didn't go exactly where I wanted it to go. It's good enough. Yeah. Sometimes where I want it to go is not physically possible. But I learn over time what is physically possible. I don't always choose the path that's physically possible. I'm thinking it is, but it ends up either a bad strike or not physically possible. And then I gotta learn the difference. Learning the difference between a bad strike and not physically possible is difficult sometimes. So I'm not too worried about that one. It's just It just looks bad. Oh no, don't tell me. Don't tell me it's going to start crunching. Can you see that lighting? That lighting is not that great. All right, so the hard part is over. Yeah. The hard part of the thinning at that stage. The hard part of that stage is over. Not the hard part of the whole point. The hard part of stage 2, I guess you call it. Stage 1 is just a basic bifacing. Stage 2 is the refinement. Stage 3 is the final thinning and shaping. The stage 3 is always the hardest, but each stage has its hard parts. Yeah, so the hard part of stage 2 is over. Yeah, that ending, the series of flakes toward the end, that was the hardest because I had to hit them with some good force to get those to come off, and that's the same force that can snap it in half. Now, the final thinning, I can leave it that thick and be smart, or I can go for thinner. There's not much cosmetic repair that I need to do. There's a few spots that could be smoothed out, but there's not really nothing bad on the surface. I can just pretty much pressure flake it to completion from here. Yeah, let's just do that. I'm tired. Or I can percussion flake it and make it look like it's pressure flaked. Because, yeah, I'm tired. I don't want to be pressure flaking when I'm tired. How's that? Now, if this doesn't seem like it's working, if it's crushing too much, then yeah, I'll just bite the bullet and pressure flake it. Yeah. Let's just see if this is okay. Today's Friday, right? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want that to happen. Pressure flaking is a little more gentle. I don't have to worry about it doing that stuff. Those deep flakes, deep flake, sounds like deep fake. Those deep flakes that can step fracture are more common with the percussion. Now I gotta fix it. Yeah, dang it. That's what I get for trying not to be tired. To fix it, I've got to move the edge that way. So that means removing flakes off of this side. So we're back to shaping it, thinning it more, instead of just sharpening it. Yeah. So that means, thin down the ends before you start hitting the middle a lot. I'm going to start hitting the middle a lot to get rid of that bad spot. You know, I'm gonna take some off of this side and get into there, because it looks lame when I've got that step fracture in there. Yeah, all right. Maybe I can get it with a 1, 2, 3. You know, flatten that side out because it's lumpy. Flatten it with a 1, 2, 3. And it's going to be more than 3. See, I told you. Ugh. That crack, I don't like when it does that. Nobody likes it. In fact, you know, I remove one step fracture to install another one. Yeah, that's what I really don't like. But I can't tell what that is. I can't tell if that's a internal crack or something I did. No, not like that. I'm removing lumpy spots that'll get rid of the temptation to try to remove them with pressure. Yeah. Because some of those spots, they're too difficult for me to remove with pressure. So I don't want to be using excessive pressure force and snapping, because I have snapped these of this size with pressure. Believe it or not. It's very difficult to do with this size. Luckily, but yeah, I have done it before. It's part, knowing that I've done it before is part of trying to avoid the bad luck. Why am I doing these dicey flakes? It's an hour. Yeah, we'll go over the hour just a little bit. So yeah, you're saying, looks like you're not going to make something out of it, like a point style. No, I'm not going to. Unless you call a blade a point style. I won't get angry if you do. Yeah. I won't make fun of you who call the knife blade a point style. Yeah. Yeah. Let's stop. Just stop looking at it. That helps a lot. Just stop looking at it. Okay. Are we ready? I am ready now. Yeah. Let's just focus on the sharpening. Yeah, I gotta do the sharpening video. This one is just downward pressure sharpening with a slight inward wherever I think it might need it, like on the tip, just to get it a little bit thinner. Now, why do I like thin tips? I just like it to taper. Doesn't have to be all that thin. I do like it to taper down. Personal preference. Yeah. It's crunchy. Okay, crunchy. I got a tool just for you. This is already sharpened. It's sharper than the other one. Okay, so not going to give me no problems. Right? Right. Yeah, a little bit more of a pointy tip. Solves all the problems. Almost. No. No, don't do that. I see the dull spots. I can push on those. So don't give me no lip. Yeah. There's no excuses. I've got dull spots up here that I can push on. So there shouldn't be any fussings. Yeah, there's always little crunches. Oh well. Ah, come on. Good enough. If it would focus, it'd be so nice. Yeah. Good enough. Now we just finish with the larger flaker. Yeah. Find a dull spot, pick it off. Yep. And then flip it over and do the same on the other side. If it needs to be reground because it's all too sharp, then I just regrind it. You can pick off the dull spots from one edge only, or from one side only if you want. It's similar to beveling. If the edge is already that way and you're pushing off flakes to recenter the edge, you can just do it with one pass and take off all the dull spots. But you got to plan ahead. This is not planned ahead. This is just random. Look at that. What is it doing? Actually, it's not doing anything. I just tried to take a shortcut. Yeah, by not preparing that edge very well. Come on. There, it's a little bit better. Okay, I'll just leave it a little thick down there. Come on. Don't get all super crunchy on me. Actually, not enough inward pressure. But I gotta tweak it. Because, yeah. And on right there where I messed up, I was pushing on a spot that was not dull. See, that was dull right there, so that flake went pretty well. But if I try pushing on the spot that's not dull, that's what happens right there. I get a step fracture near the edge, like that. But I'm just going to leave it because I'm going to offer it as a biface in the auction as either part of the Brooks and bifaces or standalone. I'm not sure yet. I just don't want to mess with it. Yeah, I'm done messing with it. Come on. Come on, Crunchy. Ah, not yet. I mean, not now. This home stretch. Not supposed to get those on the home stretch. Yeah, that's the cheap way of doing that sort of repair on the edge. I just pushed against the step fracture and then tried to sharpen it a little bit. This is really crunchy in this area. What do they do? Yeah, I suppose it's the same. Yeah, because I'm not taking much time to Sharpen it carefully. Yeah, and I'm just kind of picking at the stuff that's sticking out because I don't want it sticking out too much. Yeah, it's symmetrical enough. All right, so there you go. Just a blade. So yeah, that finished these out. I don't want to do any more on these. Yeah. All right. Hope that lighting was not too stupid. Okay, let's see. Get some good shadows. Hopefully. No, it's not going to cooperate. Yeah, something's up with the lighting. Oh, I know. How about that? Huh. Okay. That's about as good as it's going to get, I think. Yeah. See, I can see the flake scars here, but I can't see them there. But when I see them here, I can't see them there. That's what I get for trying to be clever and do two different types of stone. Very different properties. Yeah. Okay, there you go. That's it.